So I'm going to be doing a review of the Gypsy Palace Tarot by Nora Huska. I actually won this deck online. She was doing a drawing on Facebook, and I happened to like and share it and managed to be the one who won. And I'm very grateful that I did, because I've learned so much just using this deck in a short period of time that I've had it. It also came with this lovely little bag that she handmade, and she signed the deck box, so that was interesting. And it came with a reading for me, so I've got my reading here. Very good reading, and it definitely spoke to me about a few different things. And then the deck comes with this little manual, and you can actually see Nora there. She's a very beautiful woman, very interesting, almost vampire-like, I would say. Not in a creepy way though, like a psychic vampire, but in a very compelling woman that you would want to just give everything to, because she is so fascinating. So yeah, it comes with a caravan spread, which I found a very interesting way of kind of laying out a spread, as if I don't know, movement, thinking about movement. This whole deck really is compelling to, I think it compels readers to want to move and to change things. So it's definitely a very powerful deck to use. And I've had a lot of emotional experiences using it, especially reading for others. I read for people a lot, and I actually do it professionally sometimes. So I don't know, to be in the middle of a reading and start bawling because of what is in someone's cards, even though it's I don't know, they jump up at you and kind of give you a sense of urgency in a way that I haven't really experienced before. So I thought it would be important to share this deck. I picked out some of my favorite cards from the different, from the majors and from the minors, the minor suits. So let's just go through them and kind of see. This is the moon. As you can see, it's got a lot of energy and movement, and I'm somebody who's really attracted to moon energy. The moon often wakes me up when it's nearing being full, and also I have dreams about it. When it's a crescent moon, I've had lots of dreams about it. So this card comes up for me a lot, and it's very feminine energy. So it's important to me in a deck what the moon looks like, and this is very, very good card. The Tower, immediately just seeing this card, I was blown away by it, because as you can see, there's a figure, and it looks like part of himself is falling off. And to me, that was the energy that comes into one's life, where you're casting off bits of yourself that no longer serve you, casting off your identity, bits of that. It's just so powerful, and I hadn't really seen that in the Tower before, and I just really appreciated it so much. The Star, I love it. She's a pubescent girl, and she's nude, and she's happy, and there's horses. And to me, it represents, this card always represents healing and rebuilding your life. And I think, yeah, this kind of happy energy of being a young girl with horses, or with animals, and really getting to the roots of your passion, I think, is very, very beautiful card. The Hierophant, I love him. He looks so disapproving, but he also looks very magical and powerful, and I just am kind of blown away by him. He looks like someone you would fear, but also someone who you might get a beer with. He's just very, very interesting character, and I really love that card. The Devil card, this card is very important to me because I'm a Capricorn, so it is technically my card. And I've had trouble I've been studying it all year. This is the card that I keep coming back to again and again. How many different interpretations of it can I read about? How many different cards can I look at? How can I understand this card better? Because it keeps coming up for me. And at first I'm doing the traditional kind of look at it, how am I holding myself back with lower stuff? And I've definitely cut out a lot of people who I felt were holding me back, and engaging in behaviors or whatever that I felt was keeping me in a lower state of being. But the devil's about so much more than that. So I really appreciated like reading Crowley's interpretation of the devil card in the Thoth deck. But the thing is, like, there's a big dick on that card. So I'm a radical feminist. I can't really meditate on that strongly because it just is like so male and so patriarchal, and like, how does that work for me? I don't have a dick. I don't have dick energy. You know, how do I embrace that? And this card I found very feminine in terms of the devil. Like, there's this sheet covering these people who are, I don't know if they're lovers or they're doing whatever things they're doing. So to me, it was about like really mastery through knowledge of life and mastery of the material plane through like knowledge and deep intuitive knowledge. So to me, that was kind of like, okay, this is kind of more of a feminine thing I can understand, get with. Like, I don't have a dick, but man, I know shit. So like, for me, this card was really powerful. And I think everyone wants to see the High Priestess when they're like learning about a deck or looking at a deck. She's very interesting. Most of the cards in this deck are very light, and she's very dark. So you know, if she comes up in a reading, you're going to be instantly drawn to and pulled into her because she is so contrasted. And here she is. She's got like all these layers of fabric around her. She's almost like in this pool. She could get lost in it. So for me, it's really about searching through all of that and wading through all of those layers of, you know, things that we keep to get, you know, to cover up our real, authentic, intuitive self. And yeah, she's just a very well done card, I think. And then the Emperor. I love this card. He is so handsome. I mean, he's like gotten beaten up. He's lost an eye. He actually reminds me of this cat I used to have named Panther, who he was blinded in one eye. And he was the sweetest cat, and everyone loved him. But he was like beat up and kind of nasty. And I was thinking about it, you know, interpreting this card for myself. Like, there's something really attractive and compelling about being damaged. And I don't think we honor that enough, at least. You know, I don't honor it enough, or haven't myself. For women anyway. So embracing his energy, I found really kind of just helpful. Like, oh yeah, actually being like damaged, having gone through so much shit, is actually what makes you interesting and makes you like attractive to others. So yeah, actually it's a real deep card for self-love. The swords. Here's the Queen of Swords. I think this is another really important card to most tarot readers. What does she look like? I love her. She looks just like an old kind of lady who dresses how she wants, does what she wants, and doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's just true to her authentic self and used to being that way and doesn't even think about it. Like, she just is. So I love it. I love this whole interpretation. It's beautiful. The Knight of Swords, I really like this guy. He looks like an anarchist dude to me. And I just love that, to like look at him like, yeah, anarchist dudes, Knight of Swords, yeah, totally. Just completely brings me back to that kind of energy. The Four of Swords I really liked because, you know, it's a card about rest and reflection after a long thing. And to me, this card is so important because it's like a child playing in nature. And so to me, it's like getting in touch with your inner child and like doing what feels good and being out, you know, with your feet on the ground in the dirt, you know. That to me is like all about that kind of healing that comes from just reconnecting to the world around you. And this card, the Eight of Swords, you know, this is traditionally a very interesting card. At least in the Rider-Waite, you know, there's the woman blindfolded trying to walk through all these swords. And as we know, like, snakes represent knowledge. So again, she's like wrapped up by just her own limitations that are imposed from her thoughts. So it's, yeah, very interesting interpretation of that. And I love it because it is so light. So, you know, this is not a problem that's just of our modern era. This is like a human problem. We really limit ourselves by our beliefs. The Wands. This is the Five of Wands. I think you all will love this. It looks like some charismatic cult leader and all of his followers. So this card usually would represent conflict to me. I don't know. It's like this guy is one, but has he really? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting way of looking at it. Like, you may think you're in an advantageous spot, but are you actually? It's a good card for that. I love the Knight of Wands. He looks like some kind of romantic French poet. He just has that kind of energy. So to me, it represents that real fire and passion for life. Like, go out and like write and see and do it all. It's very beautiful. The Nine of Wands. I love this card because she looks very stubborn and she's unwilling to move from what she's done and what she's built. And she's like telling you to get the fuck out. So I think it's really good because it's about like honoring your path and your passions, even if it isn't like, I don't know, even if others are trying to get through and like change it, like just sticking true to that. It's very good. Very good card. The King of Wands I also really love because he has this tiny little head and there's all these big strong arms placing the crown above him. So that to me is like, okay, he's built his own self up and he's much smaller than he actually is. He was born to be much smaller than he actually is. So it's just a very good interpretation of the card and kind of literal. And I really love seeing that in the deck. Onto the Cups. Six of Cups, I really love. This card always kind of makes me think of nostalgic kind of things, but it looks like at first I'm like, oh, she's scrying, right? She's looking into the pool to see her fortune or her future or whatever. And really, I looked at it and like, she's seeing her younger self. She's looking back. So it can be interpreted in several ways. It can be interpreted as like, I don't know, scrying and seeing like into the future, seeing possibilities or communing with the spirit world. Or it can be like really looking back and kind of being stuck in that and, I don't know, holding on to that. The Two of Cups. This card is amazing. I don't even know if I could communicate everything going on in here. She just looks so like, I don't know, mischievous. And then there's the Two Cups. And you can't really see here, but there's like different colors coming up, like blue and red. So I kind of think there's like that matrix thing coming through the cups. I don't know. You have to pick your cup. It's very interesting. And I don't know. It gives me a whole new interpretation of this card, which has usually just been so obvious to me. But it's also about like, I don't know, that deeper learning level that you have with those strong partnerships that come into your life. The Ace of Cups. The aces in this deck are very interesting, and I just really appreciated this one. It's kind of, my friend saw it the other day, and she was like, are they 69ing? And I hadn't actually thought about that, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to put this in my, video that I do about it. So I guess it kind of has that aspect going on in it, too, but it's also like, I don't know, really exciting, like, drinking in new things and taking them in. I really love to see that on the card. Whereas usually it's just kind of on its own. I like to see figures actually represented in them. And of course, one of my favorite cards in the tarot is the Five of Cups. And this interpretation is just great because I think it looks like there's a coyote behind her or some kind of animal like that. So there's like this trickster illusion thing going on. And you can see she's very depressed and it has the moon. So it's nighttime and reflective, and this card is really about like disappointment. And so to have that kind of imagery, it kind of tells me like, having been fooled, and definitely, a good way of conveying that. Lastly, the Pentacles, which I'm an earth sign again, like I've said, so I found these cards to be some of the best pentacles because I always have trouble. Usually they don't do very good with pentacles in most decks. This is the Queen of Pentacles, and I just love her. She reminds me of like a white Frida Kahlo, like the imagery there, the color, her representation. She's just very like well built and well structured, and I actually have a queen I can relate to, which is nice. The Three of Pentacles, I love this. He's like this grumpy little short man, and he's, going about his work. And this card is also one of my favorites. It comes up for me again and again in my readings. So, yeah, I don't know. I love him. He kind of reminds me of Santa Claus in a way. This card has been the one that makes me cry when I see it in readings. It's the Four of Pentacles. And it's completely like a different way of looking at it. But again, I still got the same kind of message of holding on to things, being possessive, not letting go. Not letting new things in. Okay, I'm getting emotional with this card again. Yeah, that card, very strong. And then the Five of Pentacles. I love this because it reminds me just of, there's like shame in being, down and out, and it kind of really conveys that strongly, the embarrassment and the, being locked out and, not really being able to care for the people in your life like you want to. It's definitely got that vibe going on, and it communicates it very beautifully. So yeah, those are my favorite cards from the deck, and I really recommend it. It's been very powerful for me. I've had a lot of emotional experiences with the deck, and I've also given some really incredible readings for other people. So you should get a copy if you are someone who reads tarot and wants to experience that.